The latest dire warning about Android vulnerabilities gets to the very heart of the devices themselves, the 5G chipset. If exploited, this would allow dangerous malware to hide inside your device and never be removed. Users are urged to ensure they have the latest firmware and security updates installed. This latest stark disclosure comes from the team at Check Point, a very serious security vulnerability in Qualcomm's 5G mobile station modem, MSM. The chip responsible for cellular communication in nearly 40% of the world's phones. That means hundreds of millions of devices, Check Point says, exposed to an attacker using Android OS itself as an entry point to inject malicious and invisible code into phones, granting an attacker access to call history, SMS messages and audio of phone conversations. Think credential and data theft as well as spyware. We've been here before. The same team has previously hacked into Qualcomm's TrustZone on Android devices, the hardware-enforced isolation built into the CPU. That flaw was patched, but this dangerous silicon threat vector remains open. The impacted chip manages the connections to cellular networks. Yaniv Balmas, Check Point's head of cyber research, tells me, "These chips are the crown jewels for mobile exploitation. If you find a vulnerability in the way the chip handles incoming calls or SMS, you can potentially exploit a phone by just sending a message, or a call." While the potential for such a zero-click attack is deeply concerning, exploitation is extremely challenging. We're talking nation-state level conops. These mobile chips are super hard to research, Balmas explains. They are almost exclusively proprietary. Taking a look inside is a really hard task that may take years to accomplish. Following Check Point's disclosure, this latest flaw was patched by Qualcomm in December 2020. But it's down to phone manufacturers to roll out updates. The issue affects hundreds of millions of high-end phones, Check Point says. And it's not just Samsung. Certain phones from Google, LG, Xiaomi and One Plus are also at risk. But at the premium end of the 5G market, Samsung will be the most impacted by far. Qualcomm told me that providing technologies that support robust security and privacy is a priority for Qualcomm. We commend the security researchers from Check Point for using industry-standard coordinated disclosure practices. Qualcomm Technologies has already made fixes available to OEMs in December 2020, and we encourage end users to update their devices as patches become available. We found some pretty interesting vulnerabilities there that can lead to remote code execution, Balmas warns. The application itself could do anything a malicious application does: steal your data, tap your calls and SMS.